Welcome to Redskin Review. This is our fifth installment for the 2012 football season, and it's being taped on Wednesday, September 19th. In this game, we'll take a look back at the Redskins' first win of the year, first league win of the year at Walnut Hills to go to 1-3, and we'll take a look ahead at this week's game at home, homecoming against Milford. With me, as always, Dan Albers, Coach Giesting. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And Coach, I tell you what, a tale of two halves.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there was a point in time in the fourth quarter where Dan and I were wondering, well, do we want to even show up Wednesday night?
Yeah. I didn't know what to do with it. It was one of those things. It started snowballing out of control, and we just couldn't stop it.
You build a big lead, 40-7, and the offense was clicking. The passing game was clicking for the first time all year.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I thought the defense played very well in the first half. They gave up the one touchdown. Then with 28 seconds to play, or where it was, under 30 seconds, you had the kickoff return. I think that just really fired up Walnut Hills going into the locker room.
Yeah, we were fortunate to get up on them. That Walnut did not play very well early. If you remember, the first time we tried to punt, we snapped it over our head. It would have been a safety out of the end zone, but they jumped off sides.
Right.
Kept us going. Our first touchdown was a broken play where Kevin did a nice job, found Kamel and things like that. So, yeah, we scored some points, but we had some problems too. We had a touchdown called back. Kamel had gotten loose, and we had a penalty on that, and we had way too many of those kind of penalties the other night. So we dodged some bullets, and then Walnut fumbled their very first play of the second series, gave us field position. So we were able to jump on them early, and we executed, and Kevin threw the ball well on the fade to Jared, 3 times, and we had some big plays on that. But when you get up 40-7, you think, well, we're going to be okay, and we figure we score maybe once or twice the second half, and there's no way they can catch us. But we found a way to make it interesting. And the kickoff return, I think, was a huge play. We pretty much had the guy. We hit him, and a couple guys got out of position out of their rush lanes and their kickoff lanes, and he took off, and we couldn't catch him. So.
We talked a little bit about Kevin Rogers and throwing the ball, and the very first one he threw, I think you said it was a busted play to Kamel Bradley, but it was nice just to finally see him get on track, and a good way to get started. Yeah,
it was. He kept his head up, and fortunately Kamel just kept drifting and found a hole back there and made a good catch, and we got that first touchdown after we had I think a penalty and kind of got stalled out a little bit, but we made a big play when we had to.
And you guys really took advantage of when you had that single coverage on Jared Cook on the outside, and Kevin threw some beautiful balls.
Yes, he did. He threw the fade very, very well, and we've tried to take advantage of that coverage earlier in the year, and we just weren't able to do it against West and Sycamore and Withrow, but today in the Walnut game we did, and it was good to see.
It seemed to me, I don't know if Greg felt the same way, but it seemed like they were keen on Kevin running the ball a lot. It seemed like, did that seem like that to you?
I don't know. I mean, Kamel had it over 100 yards and carried it 28 times. Some of the runs are, it's a read play, and it depends what they do and whether or not Kevin carries it or gives it to Kamel on that thing. But I think going into the game, they pretty much figured they had to stop the run, and that's why we expected man-to-man. We worked on man-to-man all week, and you notice the second half they didn't play very much man-to-man.
Yeah.
They played almost all zone, and that kind of hurt us a little bit, just because they played more of a safe defense, and we just kind of self-destructed on offense the second half.
Well, on that kickoff return, there was a penalty against them. And Dan and I, to this minute, couldn't figure it out. What was that call?
I think they went down and celebrated down the end zone. They were already way out of the box.
But the flag looked like it was on the field before he'd even reached the end zone. So me and Dan were like, "Oh, this is coming back," but it never came back.
Yeah. See, I thought they called a block in the back or something. That's what I thought they called. And I couldn't understand why it wouldn't have been called back if that's what the call was.
I think it was an excessive celebration type thing. That's what.
Well, that explains it.
Yeah, well,
there were a few of those.
There was quite a few of them, actually.
On touchdowns the other night.
On returns. They had the linebacker 57. I think his name was Adkins. He was in the backfield all night with pressuring Rogers. But I'm not even sure if he got a sack. He led the league in sacks the first 2 weeks. But he was a tough player.
Yeah, he's a good player. They had some real good players. And 58, the one that ran the kickoff back, was a really good player. You know, we did a pretty good job on him, and not, you know, and our pass protection wasn't that bad. You know, he's the one that picked up the fumble in the second half, ran it back too. We couldn't catch him.
He's
either,
fast too.
Yeah, faster than we were. So, you know, it was just a weird night. And again, a lot of it goes back to this team. And I've talked to them a lot. They have a lot of potential, but I think focus and concentration and intensity at times are things we need to keep working on.
After the first 3 weeks, when you played some really good, tough Division I teams, you go up in halftime. You're up 40-14. Even with that kickoff return, you had to feel pretty good. The kids had to feel pretty good about having a big lead like that.
Yeah, they did feel pretty good. Probably too good, because I went and got after them a little bit, because I could tell that they just were kind of shutting it down, and I tried to warn them about that, and you know, tell them, look, Walnut's given us a lot of these points. We're not playing as well as you think you are, and you know, we have to come out and establish something, and we really did. The second half, the first 3 plays, we had a first down, but then we dropped the snap. I mean, those kind of things, and then we got a penalty on the next play, so that was a busted possession. We only took about 2 minutes off the clock, and we had to keep playing. And you mentioned the defense earlier. I thought the defense played pretty well all night. I mean, they gave up 1 touchdown the first half. Essentially, they gave up 1 the second half. The third one they gave up was off the interception. It was run back to about the 12-yard line.
Right.
So they had a real short field on that. So, you know, Walnut had 5 touchdowns, and one of them was a fumble return, the other was a kickoff return, and the other one was off an interception return.
A 12-yard drive. So
yeah, we didn't really offensively help our defense a whole lot in certain situations, but in the fourth quarter, the defense had some big stops. I think 3 straight times we got them stopped. So, and that was really good to see.
Well, I mean, that's a big thing we were talking about all year long, is you want to see improvement each week from everybody involved, and I think your defense really did that. I mean, you had the interception, and I think the big one was that big fourth down when I think it was 4th and 2, and they did a sweep, I think, or pitched it out. It's a huge play.
Option play, and they fumbled it.
We jumped in a little different look on them, and they actually checked to that play, and we were fortunate enough. You know, we were able to stop them, and you know, it was a big play for us, and I think the defense has improved from week to week. They really worked at it. They really are a hard-working group of kids. There's no superstars on that team at all on the defensive side of the ball for us, but they're starting to play very well together and play as hard as they can, and you know, then that gives us a chance to be successful.
Yeah, the emotions of, you know, having that big lead in that first half, and then, you know, Walnut Hill's almost. How mentally is everybody? The coaches, the players, they pretty good. They've put it beside them.
Well, it's, you know, you can't scream and yell at them. We were trying to be as positive as we could with them on the side, and encourage them to. But they were getting shook up about it, and they're a fairly young team, and as far as experience goes in certain positions, and they have to be able to overcome that kind of stuff. When bad things happen, you have to forget about it. You got to have a short memory, and you got to keep playing. And it was, you know, it was hard to stop the bleeding the second half. It really, really was. We just couldn't get anything going on offense, and we had way too many penalties. We had 12 penalties, you know, which is just crazy. And I think 4 of them were on plays that we had obvious touchdowns, and it's an effort play. And I told him Monday, I said, I applaud your effort, but I said, you guys aren't very smart. The ball's 20 yards in front of you, and you're trying to hit somebody. It just doesn't make any sense, and because the officials are looking for those kind of things, there's no reason to. And you know, we had like 4 penalties like that, and Walnut had one like that. It was just a strange game with that kind of thing. How do
you do something like that? You can't simulate that in practice. What do you have to do with that? I mean,
well, as far as jumping off sides and things like that, that's a concentration. A holding penalty, that happens. You know, we had a receiver holding. We had another holding penalty inside a couple times. You know, we can live with those things. But when you jump off sides or you don't line up correctly, which we actually lined up pretty well the other night, but the penalties of just the ball's 20 yards in front of you, no one's going to catch it, and why are you trying to hit someone where it's just going to draw attention to you? The officials are looking for those kind of things, and that's just not smart football, and we have to get better at that.
Nonetheless, you come out with a 40-35 win, first league win, first win of the season, and like me and Dan were talking about on the broadcast, you had those 3 non-league games. That's over with. Now you're playing league games. Now you're 1-0 in the league, so the kids got to feel good about starting out that way in the league.
We told them that it was a new season, and it's time to start here now. We're starting the league play, and we got some games at home now. Of our first 3 games, we only had 1 at home, and now after the Walnut game, we get to play at home, and for homecoming, which is a good week, and then we go to Loveland, and then we have Turpin at home, and then Glen Estee at home before we go on the road for our final 2 at Winton Woods and King. So, hopefully they just look at it that way. And I said, look, we're 1-0 in our second season. Now we got to try to get to 2-0, and learn from our first 3 games, but also it's time to move on and forget those. We faced some really good teams. Sycamore's vastly underrated. I think they're undefeated, and they play Coleraine this week. And
That'll be interesting.
I think they have. I think they have a shot at them. I mean, a lot of it'll come down to turnovers and things like that. But Sycamore doesn't beat themselves, and they're very, very well coached. In Lakota West,
just beat Mason.
Just beat Mason, and so they're undefeated as well. And I don't think they play Coleraine this year.
I don't think they do.
Maybe they do. But either way, West is on a roll. They're going to probably win 7, 8, 9 ball games. So, and Withrow's back to 2-2 now, I think.
They did.
So
who'd they lose to?
Centerville and Turpin.
But they played Centerville tough in the Turpin game. They were missing some guys in the first week, and they got them back, and so they're a quality team as well. And you just hope those 3 games prepared us for our league play and playing schools that are more our size now.
Which we're into that part of the schedule right now.
Yeah.
Offensive, defensive, special teams players of the week.
Offensive player was Jared Cook. Had those nice receptions on the fade. Scored 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
I
3.
guess.
3 touchdowns.
Had over 150 yards receiving probably.
Wow.
Had 91 of them on that one play.
Yeah.
Right. Did a nice job. Defensive player was John Von Haney. He did a nice job in the secondary. Just plays his responsibility. We actually had a problem on one coverage. They had the guy down the middle, and John just went and tackled him and did a good job. And then special teams was Jacob Henderlight, who's on several of those teams. Unfortunately, hurt his knee a little bit, and he's not going to play this week.
Oh, wow.
But I think he'll be back next week for the rest of the year.
He had the pick 6, didn't he?
Yeah, and he had the pick 6 as well. So he did a lot of good things for us.
Good. JV freshman team, they play this week?
Yes, they did. JV won big, like 44-8.
Oh, good.
Played real well. Freshman had a hard luck loss. Got beat 7-6.
Wow.
We had a touchdown called back because we hit somebody when the ball was 20 yards in front of us. An obvious score. And then they scored on a big play, and we scored with about a minute to go. We were going for 2 and dropped the snap. We had our chances. So they really are a good group of kids. They're playing hard. They just are kind of snake bit right now. So hopefully they can get their win this week.
Any injuries on the varsity level from this week's game?
Well, Henderlight's knee is bothering him. Otherwise, I think we're pretty good shape on the varsity. A couple JV guys are banged up a little bit. I'm not sure if they'll be back for Saturday's JV game or not yet. But overall, we're not in terrible shape.
Okay, let's go ahead and start talking about the game this week. It's homecoming, as the coach said earlier. Redskins will play host to Milford, and 1-0 in the league. And Milford is, as you know, a league opponent. And tell us a little bit about that game coming up.
Well, Milford struggled the last few years, but they've got some good young players, and and they've got some bright spots on their team. I think their running back is either leading the league or second in the league right now.
Is that right?
Yep.
He's doing a really good job. Big, tall quarterback who played last year. Decent size up front. Probably average about 220 on their offensive line, and they've scored some points. Scored a lot of points against Woodward last week.
Yeah, like 44-0, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, they won pretty big. They've played a decent schedule. They lost to Edgewood, who's undefeated right now. Lost to Campbell County.
Yeah.
I don't know their record, and then they lost to Hamilton. So, we got to be ready to play, and hopefully we can, cut out the penalties, cut out some mistakes, and play a pretty good, clean game.
Yeah, as you said, the two guys that stuck out to me was Overbeck,
Yeah.
was the quarterback, and then Cade Williams was the running back.
Right. Cade Williams, he's pretty quick.
Yeah, second in the league, and it looks like that those two guys are predominantly guys that'll see the ball a lot, I guess, if you want to say.
Yeah, and then they've got a sophomore kid, number 42. They get the ball to a little bit as well. A lot of formations and more of a running team than a throwing team, but they can still hurt you throwing the ball. So we're going to play well.
And what about defensively? What do they do defensively?
They're in an odd stack, 3-3. Our old defense pretty much don't break that ever. They'll bring pressure with the outside linebackers and the middle linebacker and play some quarters coverage and cover 2 and some 3 deep. So we have to be ready to pick up blitzes, and hopefully we can do that and make them pay for it.
Do you think they're much improved than they were from last year and even years before?
I think they're better than they were last year, sure. I think they're getting better. A decent kicker and decent kicking game.
And was he there last year, the coach?
Yeah.
He was. Yeah, I didn't know if he was back or not. I couldn't remember.
He's right. Yep.
Okay. Want to talk about the Alumni Association?
Yeah, but just real quick, as we, again, the Anderson Football Alumni Association, we've been doing this for a couple years now, and just you can sign up. You can either get a hold of Coach Giesting, myself, or John Raymond, and it really is progressing, and I think more and more people are getting involved, and I think we got more guys listening to the games. It's just really, as we always talk about every week, it's just going to be a long a process every week talking about it, and it really has got to a point where I'm pretty happy with where we're at so far in this.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Those guys are, they're interested, and anytime I call them or email them for something, they're always supportive and wishing us, good luck and all that kind of stuff. So, it's once you've played football at Anderson, you're part of that family, and we want those guys to be involved and to be around, as much as they can.
We almost had a mini skull session Friday after the game, all talking about what's going on and trying to help and figure out what we can all do. And I know everybody's, like you said, is very proud of the Anderson High School and the tradition, and so I think that's just a really neat thing to see all the guys come together for that.
Yeah, it is, and hopefully homecoming will be a big crowd, hopefully, and a lot of former players there, and we need to just play a good, clean football game and keep working on our confidence, and because I do think we have a pretty good team. It's just they haven't necessarily shown it consistently, and we've shown flashes on offense and we've shown flashes on defense, but we haven't put it together yet, the whole package. And you look back and the Withrow game stands out as one that we kind of let get away, and you can't afford to do that, and you got to be able to close the door and win some games early, and we didn't get that done, so we come out 0-3, but and then we like you said, we jump out on Walnut, and then we just have to hang on for dear life. So it's there's a lot of good things that we just need to keep developing.
Yeah, that's one thing you can look at too, if you want to look at it, is, hey, we've experienced a massive comeback, and now we know what to kind of expect. Maybe you can look at it that way.
It just shows you got to keep playing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's never over. You got to keep playing, and to Walnut's credit, they kept playing and did a good job with that as well.
Well, let's go win some games, and hopefully it'll help us in the long run.
Yeah, well, they've got they're 2-2 right now. So they play Schroeder this week, and hopefully they can beat them. That'll give us a few more points. It's way too early on the playoffs to see where we're at, but it's going to be tough. Last year 5-5 would have got us in. I don't know if 5-5 will this year. I think we have to get at least to 6, which means we have to win 5 of our last 6 games.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough, but you take them one at a time and see what happens.
That's right. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Thank the folks that make this broadcast and our game broadcast possible. The good folks here at Anderson Community Television for the use of their studio, their equipment, their airtime. So we appreciate it. Thanks to the football moms for all they do. Thanks to John Raymond in the control booth there, who is going to be by my side Friday night, as Dan will not be there. And John will take over. He's as we said, he's a man of many hats, and John will be the color man for that game, and I look forward to doing that game with John.
Yeah, and I am going away for I got a free hotel, so we're heading to Louisville. So we gotta take advantage of that, when you can.
John stepped in for you.
I might not be back. I might not be back.
The other time, so I'm sure he'll do a great job again. And
yes, he will. And then I'm done.
That's
and
right. You'll be on the sideline we'll be waving to you the white flag or something.
No, it's just hard to believe that. Basically, what we're doing is for the anniversary of the wedding that we had last year, but we're doing it a couple weeks in advance. So it's hard to believe that is that quick. Getting old.
You are.
Thank you.
We all are, which beats the alternative. So
I couldn't pull off the let's save this for the Louisville UC game. That didn't go over too well. So I tried that. It didn't work.
And again, remember, if you can't make a game or you have someone out of town that wants to keep up with the program, a relative, a grandparent, a sister, brother, USBNsports.com is where we do all the games on live. And that's Dan's website. That's the Ultimate Sports Broadcasting Network is what it stands for. And just to remind folks that they can listen to us and drop us an email while they're listening to let us know that we're coming through loud and clear. And I talked to 3 or 4 people at work last week that were listening to us and the sound was perfect.
That's awesome. The big thing now is we're tweeting the scores. And we're getting a lot of people following us on that. So that's a pretty neat thing to have that. Scott Springer joined in on us. So everybody's trying to follow one way or the other about getting the scores.
Excellent. Good. Okay, so it'll be the Redskins playing Milford in homecoming week here in week 5. We look forward to it. Coach, good luck to you.
Thank you.
For Dan Albers, Jeff Giesting, I'm Greg Ellis. Thanks for joining us on Redskin Review.